So the Social Security disability process actually starts with filing an initial application, and that is the first step. So filing an initial application is basically stating your case to the agency. What are your impairments? What are your physical impairments? What are your mental impairments? What you've done in terms of treatment, what has helped, what hasn't helped, what is being proposed for the future. Also going into your job duties. How long did you hold those positions? What were your job duties? How long were you standing for? How long were you required to walk? How much were you required to lift? That really is important, especially for people who are older than 50, because at 50, Social Security begins to recognize the difficulties that these older workers may have now that they are unable to perform the aspects of their past work. And maybe work that they could do, they may not have skills that could easily transfer to those positions. So that's very, very important, at least on the initial application, to get that information out there. Once you submit your application, Social Security will then start to look and see whether or not you're working. Now, as you do go through the process, you are allowed to work, but you can't make any more than what Social Security refers to as substantial gainful activity. Now, this amount goes up every year, and I like to say that it's Social Security's special term for competitive employment. So if you're making more than a certain amount of money, Social Security determines that you're able to compete in the economy, and therefore these benefits aren't needed. Now, at least for the year 2021, substantial gainful activity is $1,310 per month gross. Now that's before taxes. So if you are working and you're making more than that amount, you're not going to qualify. Social Security will also look at some other things, at least initially. For SSDI, which is Social Security Disability Insurance, the local office will actually determine whether or not you have enough work credits. So we tend to say disabled worker because in order to qualify for SSDI, you need to have a strong work history. And Social Security actually converts your earnings into work credits. So the older you are, the more credits you are going to need. For SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income, or also referred to as Title 16 benefits, that is a benefit for people who may not have had the opportunity to work. So this could be, for children. It could be for maybe someone who worked in the home as a homemaker or as a stay-at-home parent. And it's needs-based. So Social Security is going to evaluate your assets. So once Social Security determines that you meet at least the initial requirements for SSDI or SSI, your claim will then be transferred to the Bureau of Disability Determination. Now that is actually an agency within the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry, and they will determine whether or not you meet the medical requirements for either SSDI or SSI. If you are approved, that's wonderful, and your benefits will eventually start. But if you're denied, it's very, very important to take note of your denial date. You only have 60 days. And it may seem like a lot of time, but 60 days goes by very, very quickly. So it's really important to file your appeal right away to preserve that deadline. Even if you are not sure if you want to continue, if you are still, talking to your doctors, or maybe looking to go back to work or to find another type of work, I always say preserve your deadline, and then you have time to figure everything else out later on.